Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Tuesday market review. Pat here. As always, we're going to be taking a quick look at the market. Going to keep this one nice and short. Not too much to talk about this week as we have FOMC tomorrow. So let's get into it. Before we get into the video, just want to remind you that this video is for informational purposes only and reflects my personal views. It's not financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. Thank you. Make sure you check out the links in the description as well. Links to join the Discord right now. I'm teaching my new strategy, which you can see on screen. This is a new strategy that I'm working on, buy and sell signals, both on the higher time frame and lower time frame, majors, altcoins, everything. This is going to be something that I'm going to offload to the Discord very shortly as I finalize the indicator, and we should be good to go. Been catching some big breakdowns on altcoins and equally some nice bottoms. You know, this indicator is all about catching the extremes of the moves, which is always really nice, and being able to catch tops and bottoms is what everyone wants to do. So yeah, link to join the Discord can be seen there. I'm going to be streaming today as well, so come and check that out. Right, FOMC tomorrow, all to play for really, probably the biggest data event of the year that everyone's been waiting for, and in terms of for the Fed to pivot, it's very important. You know, everyone's waiting for the Fed to pivot. I'm going to put up the poly market probabilities at the moment. We can see that right now it's a 91% in favor of a 25 rate cut, and then 7% for 50 BPS cut, and then 3% no change. So we have seen a recent move up from Bitcoin over the past week. Basically, since we bottomed at the start of the month in September, we have moved up, and this could potentially be a so-called like pricing in event. The market is pricing in the fact that there's going to be a 25 BPS cut. So let's discuss a few scenarios right now. In the event that there is a 50 BPS cut, I think we could see some volatility around Bitcoin and around risk assets, evidently would lead to a much higher move. If the market comes in as a no change, then I think we would react quite poorly to this. Market probably pricing in the fact that we're going to have a cut, and if we don't, I think we could see some selling off back down towards range lows, which in the event this did happen, we could get a really nice buy opportunity into 112k to 113k, which I'll discuss in a little bit. And obviously a cut would be positive for the market as well. We have to think about the fact that if the US economy is starting to suffer, it could be detrimental for risk assets. So, you know, at the end of the day, we have to consider what Powell says in his speech following the rate cuts. That's if there is any rate cuts, and then we can go from there. I think it's important not to make too many drastic decisions initially when the data is dropped, but evidently following that, we should be able to see whether Q4 is going to be bullish or bearish. I think either way, the market looks really good right now, but we have to keep the idea that if the US economy is struggling in the back of our heads, then maybe risk assets won't perform as well as we thought. But we have to see how larger participants pivot, how large participants decide to trade this. You know, it's important to see what these larger whales are doing, what these institutions are doing now, because this is where most of the volume is coming from. So the dollar is obviously going to be the main thing that's going to be taking a hit, at least the DXY and the dollar index. Right now, I think we are on track for the dollar to continue to trade down into December. I've been vocal about this, and I think as long as the dollar continues to remain weak going into Q4, Bitcoin should make a leg up into fresh all-time highs in Q4 and even towards the end of Q4 into Q1 of next year. As long as the dollar remains weak, especially if we start to see some cuts tomorrow, then this can be very positive for crypto, evidently leading to some nice moves from risk assets. But we have to see how the economy unfolds, what happens, and how Jerome Powell sounds in his meeting following the data. But overall, this has been looking good. I've been bullish on Bitcoin and bearish on the dollar since March, especially since June. We've been bearish on the dollar and have been scaling into Bitcoin spot daily as a bit of a hedge. So really good reclaim back above this range low area for BTC. I think, like I said, if we get that retest back towards 112, 113k in towards this region, it should be a really nice place to take a long position, a free retest almost, and an obvious retest for a long. The fractal of January 2024 continues to play out. Structure wise, this looks great, so showing real similarities right now with that reclaim above the key level, and then now sort of flagging. I think we are looking at legging up. Price action is slow right now, as we can see, pretty much consolidated for the week. This is no surprise given FOMC tomorrow and one of the biggest economic data events of the year so far, if not in a long time. So considering the fact that we're just consolidating here, I think that's a good sign of strength for the market. A lot of the time you'll see market completely risk off into these FOMC events, but right now we continue to hold, which is great. Now, despite my bullish outlook for majors into Q4, there are two levels that are important to me on both ETH and BTC. BTC is this 108 to 106k region, and then on ETH it's this sort of like 3800 level. As long as majors can continue to hold above here going into Q4, I think we are looking for a really nice bullish Q4 period. If for whatever reason majors decide to deviate and fall back below this 3800 region, below this 106k region, I would consider a very bearish scenario and a much deeper pullback, likely back down to the 80s. I think a deviation of such above here, above prior all-time high, that would be bearish. It would be a big shift given over the amount of times that we have flipped prior all-time high in this move up. We've continued to hold that area, right? Continue to hold this prior all-time high area over and over again. So deviating back below there would be detrimental for price, and I think we would lock in a bit of a spiral in terms of an unwind on majors. So, you know, for my bullish outlook to remain intact, I want to continue to hold here, and I want to continue to hold here into 108, 106k on BTC. As long as we hold into this region, happy days. We can look at taking a fresh all-time high on ETH in Q4. Value-wise right now on BTC looking pretty good, holding above the prior monthly VWAP, holding above the developing quarterly VWAP, holding above the prior weekly value area high, or at least fluctuating around it. You can see fairly bracketing weak, just sort of bracketing between the +1 and -1 standard deviation bands on the VWAP. Shows a sign of just fairly balanced market right now. Not too many people trading, mostly waiting for FOMC to take drastic measures on the market. To wrap it up, I want to keep it short. Like I said, not too much to discuss this week, but taking a look at some altcoins. If you missed my video yesterday, go check it out. My Monday moonshot video. We were taking a look at Pump, discussing the latest news, the outlook for the next few months, and maybe a bullish DGEM revival in terms of what Pump could bring back to the market. So go check that out. But overall, Pump looks pretty good. Holding here right now. Any retest back towards 0.007 looks like a good buy opportunity. If we start to fall back below 0.007, I'm going to be looking at taking a short position. That would signal to me a good trend shift and probably a move back, like I said, back down to like 0.006, 0.005 area. A big reversal could be in play if so. Hype's another one that's strong. Gave me my sell signals on my new system. This has been playing out really well. So these are strong sell signals on Hype. I was actually waiting for a little bit higher on Hype. I wanted to sell into 57 to 60 for a short, but it just front run that region just a bit. That's where my alerts were for it, into these highs last week. So not short on Hype, but was looking for a bit of reversal. If you do get a retest back down towards maybe like 40, 49, all the way down to sort of 40s, that could be a good place to take a long on Hype, looking basically back down towards this region for some reversal triggers to look up for a fresh leg up. Last altcoin I got my eye on is Sonic. This took a bit of a battering overnight. I tried to look and see what happened in terms of this move. We had quite a lot of OI get flushed out on it. I didn't know if there was some sort of news related pump or whatnot. I was having a look around, but I couldn't see anything. But I'm going to keep an eye on this for a long today. Maybe one more drop into like 0.2 area to take a fresh long into the developing monthly value area low and also the developing quarterly value area low. Both regions look quite good for a fresh long, so I'm going to keep an eye on there, especially since we got quite sold off on the Z score. Like I said, quite a short one today, mostly chilling till tomorrow. Make sure you come and join the Discord. We're going to be streaming through FOMC and live trading through FOMC, looking at a good buy opportunity on ETH if we sweep 4200. BTC looking for a good buy opportunity if we can sweep into like 113k for fresh long positions. Otherwise, we just ride our spot for a breakout much higher. That's going to do it for this week's Tuesday market view. Hope you enjoyed and check out the socials. Catch you guys on Friday for my Chatting from Blank episode. Bye bye.